Hello everybody, this is Azamar42 and I'm making this video as my deconversion story at the request of King Heathen's video. I haven't really prepared anything for this, I just kind of figured I'd ramble on for a while until I get tired of it and then turn off the microphone, so I guess here we go. Basically, I was raised as a Christian. A couple of different types, actually. We started out Baptist, and then when I was around 8, we were Jehovah's Witness for about 6 months or so. I don't really remember that clearly, that stage. And from about the time I was 8, 9 years old till I was 14, I was raised Pentecostal in the Assembly of God. As a child, I definitely did believe in God. I was definitely Christian, believed in Jesus, atonement, all that goodness. In addition, being Pentecostal, we believed in things like speaking in tongues and really bad bands playing at church. Basically, I was pretty devout. I definitely believed. I wasn't zealous, but I certainly was into it and believed every bit of it until probably around when I was like 12 or 13ish. I started. Some things didn't start to mesh. I went to Bible study regularly at church because I wasn't old enough to go to the adult version of church at that time, and I started noticing inconsistencies in some of the stories, especially when I read on my own, because basically the way it worked at our church was they would give you like a couple of stories that they would read. We'd discuss them on Sunday while everyone else was at the main sermon, and they were always really simple, obvious stories, like Jonah and the whale, and the stuff everybody's heard, turning people into pillars of salt and turning fish into loaves, all that garbage, right? So when I started reading other stories in the Bible, like the prophecy of the destruction of Tyre and how that didn't really work the way it was supposed to, and things of that nature, I started asking questions that my Bible study teacher just didn't have the answers to. And I was never rude about it. I wasn't like trying to got you wrong. I was actually genuinely curious, and nobody seemed to know. So at that time, I just started reading on my own, and I had doubt at that point. I certainly was still Christian at the time. When I was 14, my mother died, and that was obviously a tremendous blow to a 14-year-old boy. And at that point, I got mad, and I was angry, and I just quit church. I was mad at God. I was like, you don't exist. I'm mad at you. So I stopped going to church. I gave up on Christianity. Much of my family did also, like my brother and my cousin also at that same time pretty much gave it up. We consider ourselves to be agnostics at that point. Later on, I thought maybe that was just a stupid decision, probably around 16 or so I started delving back into Christianity. I didn't start going to church again, but I started reading the Bible and just talking with friends, and I actually found that now that I had lived without it for 2 years, reading the Bible with a fresh set of eyes, not having been going to church every year or every week for a couple of years, it was quite horrifying, and and it might have had to do with the fact that I was older at that time too, but I didn't quite grasp as a young child how horrible some of these stories were, or what they implied that it was that I was supposed to worship. So at that point, I truly, rationally abandoned religion. And I still consider myself to be agnostic at that point, but the only reason I did was basically I misunderstood what the term atheist meant. So I started calling myself an atheist when I turned 20 years old, and I've continuously sought more knowledge. For some reason, religion is just an interesting topic to me. I really don't like it. I think it's ridiculous, and I think we could use a lot less of it, to tell you the truth. But that's basically how I ended up becoming an atheist in a nutshell. Obviously, there's more details, but I don't want to bore you with everything. So, yeah, that would be it. So, if you got any questions or anything, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching.